So according to Neil Druckmann, the I guess head of Naughty Dog, what is his role now at Naughty Dog? I actually cannot remember. But anyways, he's been in charge of many big games like The Last of Us, Uncharted, so on and so forth. If you don't know who Neil Druckmann is, then I'd be very surprised you at least haven't heard his name at some point in the gaming industry. But according to him, in an interview with BuzzFeed, Uncharted is actually going to be over. It's done. It's over. And I was holding on to hope, and I'll explain why a little bit later when we talk about that specific part. But he also talked about the potential of The Last of Us Part 3. And also kind of the scope of which the adaptation, the HBO series, is going to, I guess, the kind of scope they're going to stay in, right? Are they going to go outside of the games? Will there be a season 2? We'll talk a little bit about that as well, because again, the whole interview was based on The Last of Us, HBO, the TV series, which, by the way, let me know if you guys want to see me do some like episodic reviews each week. I haven't done one for 1 or 2, but I could backtrack and do that. It would have to be more discussion based. I wouldn't be able to put much footage on screen for copyright purposes, besides rerunning a trailer a little bit for some B-roll. But if you guys would like to see that, let me know, because the first 2 episodes were pretty insane. And first, let me know what you guys thought of the first 2 episodes. Also, before we continue this, I know I'm talking weird. I got a massive canker sore on the side of my tongue. It's rubbing against my teeth. It hurts like crazy. My tongue is swollen. I keep rinsing it with Listerine. So that's where I'm at right now. So I just want to warn you guys, that's why I'm talking a little bit funny today. So let's talk about this, because this is very, very interesting, to say the very least. There's basically 20 questions about the TV show with BuzzFeed, and Neil Druckmann goes on to say that how the TV show basically expanded on the relationship between Joel and Tess as being romantic. It was already implied in the games, but they made it a little bit more explicit as well. There's some things that they couldn't go super in depth with in the TV show, because it just become boring, right? In the game, certain things work differently. In a show, it's something that's going to become a little bit more tedious to watch and boring if they don't nail it right, and if they don't kind of rework it, if you will. Episode 2, if you've seen, for example, the museum scene, I'm not going to go into details if you didn't see it, but if you've seen that scene, and if you played the original game, you'll see how they kind of tweaked it a little bit. So it's still pretty true to the game, but there's enough tweaked where it wasn't super boring, right? all the other parts. Anyways, all that to say, he went on a little bit more with some of the movie stuff. For example, there was even a movement boot camp to train the extras how to move like the infected, which The Walking Dead did as well, with the walkers in their show. So it's very cool to see that they're taking, I honestly do believe that they're taking a little bit of inspiration from the Walking Dead universe. Obviously, it's the biggest kind of apocalyptic zombie show out there. But The Last of Us is freakier. I will say it's edgier, it's darker than The Walking Dead, and it's even a little bit darker and edgier than the game in some ways, which I'm all for, man. I'm all for. It's think about that older lady in the first episode. If you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. It's pretty creepy. Anyways, so you guys are probably wondering what about the game, right? I want to touch a little bit about some of the TV show stuff, because again, I thought it was kind of interesting. And again, I'll link the whole article down if you want to read the entire thing, but I'm just trying to highlight it for your convenience. So let's get into a little bit more about the other stuff. So I'm going to throw it up. We'll take a look at it. Basically, when he was asked about the future of the franchise, he says that they're pretty open, that the next Last of Us game is going to be a multiplayer experience, which we know about. Of course, which we have yet to see a trailer for, but we did see some concept art, which it's looking intriguing, sounding intriguing, whatnot. Basically, that it's going to be, you're going to be able to enter the world of The Last of Us with your friend, get to experience the tension and brutality of that world, and a brand new story and cast of characters that live in another city, which we haven't seen yet in the world of The Last of Us. I kind of like what they're doing. It's kind of like, again, with The Last of Us, or sorry, not what The Walking Dead did. They had the main story, but then with Fear the Walking Dead and Tales of the Walking Dead, they're kind of, even the Telltale games, Telltale games. They kind of explored other stories and other places. So hopefully, that'd be something they're willing to explore with more games, even beyond, Ellie and well, Joel. He's, we know what happened to him. So anyways, he says beyond that, he knows there's a bunch of people wondering about The Last of Us Part 3, whether it be a thing or not. He says, all I can say is that at Naughty Dog, basically, they're very privileged. Sony lets them do their own thing, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to kind of skip reading that part because, again, tongue hurts and I don't want to waste you guys' time. But he says they're not forced to make a sequel. There's no pressure for them to make sequels for these games. It's all their choice. And then he says for Uncharted, this is where we get into the Uncharted section. It was insanely successful, but Uncharted 4, he says, was one of our best-selling games, and we were able to put our final brushstroke on that story and say that we're done, we're moving on. So there's your kind of confirmation that Uncharted is done. It's over. I guess that's it. I would love to have seen them continue the story, even if it's with a specific relative. I'm trying not to spoil it, even though you've had plenty of time by now, but a specific relative of Nate's. I think that would be cool. Even a spin-off would be cool of that, but who knows? Maybe they said it's the end, but who knows? Is it really always final? Is there always finality with these things? No, not really. It says, likewise, though, with The Last of Us, it's up to us whether we want to continue or not. He says our process is the same thing we did with part 2, which is if we can come up with a basically compelling story, that they're going to continue it. And they'll take it from there. So again, they're gonna have to kind of see. They said we if we can't come up with something, we do have a very strong ending with part 2, and that will be the end. But if they can come up with something that they feel is compelling enough and worth producing, then they'll do that. Again, I kind of hope that even if they don't necessarily have like a part 3 of that story, that they can do like maybe some spin-off stories of The Last of Us, kind of more about the world, right? Again, it's the same thing with The Walking Dead, right? Some people say, oh, you're milking it at that point, but there's a whole world to explore in this apocalyptic world, right? And we've seen in the TV show tidbits where we're kind of getting flashes to other parts of the world even, and even other, other kind of eras, right? The show starts kind of with discussion panel in like, what is it, like the 1800s or 1970s or I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was decades ago. And yeah, so I think they can definitely do that. But in response basically to whether there's going to be a season 2 or not, they did go and say that they're having conversations, whether if they do get renewed or not. Nothing's been official, and whatnot. Now I don't know where season 1 ends. I don't know if it ends at the end of part 1. If it does, then I guess season 2 would be basically The Last of Us part 2. Anyways, and then last thing, he says the show will not go beyond the scope of the game. So, they only want to adapt to the games. They don't want to go outside of them. So, it's good to know that, it's really is a true adaptation. This is how you do it, man. Halo should have taken notes, but unfortunately they did not. So there you guys have it. Uncharted, apparently it's, that's it. It's final. No more Uncharted. But again, I don't think there's ever finality really in the gaming industry. Anything can be brought back at any point, continued, et cetera, et cetera. We got Crash Bandicoot 4 years and years later. It's a little bit different. It's not like a massive story, but you know what I mean. Anything can happen. And with The Last of Us Part 3, we'll see. For now, they're focused on the show and they're focused on the multiplayer experience, and we'll see what the future holds. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know if you guys would like to see me do some reviews on every episode of the show or not, or maybe just wait till the very end, do like a whole kind of review on the entire series, if you will. And all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys think of this news and this information, and what you guys, like I said, are thinking of the show so far. So if you enjoyed this one, stick around for more. I'll see you guys soon. Another one. Tell them your friends. Game on. Thanks for watching.